ma'am.
Good evening, gentlemen and lady. My name is Sharon Pollard, and I'm speaking tonight on this development. It's added to another development. It is, they're going from a forest agricultural to a residential SF10. This consists of 84 acres, and it will be 192 single-family units. My question is, not only this development, but the developments across this county, the traffic studies are wrong. They're based on the developments as they come up. I have a map here I'd like to show. This is the existing development, right here. The one that is on second reading tonight is this one. So what happens is the traffic study is done on the red outline as it sits for zoning. That's how all these developments in the county is done. This is the problem. This part of the development, right here, was passed on third reading tonight. And that is, I believe, 92 units. So between all those developments, there's probably about 400 houses there. But the traffic study is not on 400 houses. It's on as each phase is added. So you've got a third reading on that one, and a second reading on the bigger one tonight. And the traffic studies are not based on that whole unit of a development. And this is what's happening all across the county. You've got Route 90. How many developments have you passed on Route 90 that are done this exact same way? And that is so misleading for the traffic conditions. If all these developments were traffic studied the right way, we would have to have 4-lane highways on 90 and 905. But it's misleading to say that these studies are done on each parcel without adding the ones that have been rezoned and approved. And this I just wanted to point out. We have tried in this county every way we can to stop this growth without the proper infrastructure. And this is one of the big reasons, traffic. And this, you cannot go on these traffic studies. They are misleading. And I don't know how you can fix that in the future, if you can add developments that have been passed, add them into these traffic studies, because all along 90 and all along 9, you're going to be adding these developments without adding the developments that's been approved. So it's misleading. And that's all I just wanted to point out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask Mr. Sword to come up and address this, please, from our planning and zoning department. They're conducted when new developments are going in.
Sure, there's a couple different parts. One is the rezoning stage that you're seeing today. In the rezoning stage, we're dealing with a conceptual development plan. That's not actually necessarily exactly what's going to be built. So what we do is we evaluate the individual project. We look at what could be built there today and what kind of traffic it could generate. And then we look at what the proposed development is and what that traffic could generate. And then we also look at the existing roadway that's there and all of the regional development that is occurring around it. That is why, starting last year, you notice that we provided you a map that showed all the developments that were happening in the county and when they were happening and how many units were left to be built. That is part of our approach that we use when we do traffic studies to look at all the development that is occurring around each of these rezonings when they come in evaluating what the future right-of-way widths are going to be required on those roads. As you see all these new developments coming in, you'll see that they have buffers and additional right-of-way that they're providing along the front of each of those subdivisions, including many of the ones you approved tonight, including this one here on Hemingway Road, where we've asked a developer to provide that additional right-of-way. Also, when it gets to the development stage and they've actually got civil plans ready to be, where they're ready to turn dirt, we actually study every single project that comes in. Anything that generates anything that's over 20 lots has to do a study to determine whether or not it's going to have to put in a deceleration lane. And anything more than 50 lots have to look at whether or not they're going to have to put in a left turn lane. So if you meet the criteria, and that's including all background growth, not even just the projects that are in the immediate vicinity, we look at all the growth. So roads like 90 and 905, growth that happens in other places, not even on those roads, is included in that. So depending on where it's at, it might be between a 1% and 3% annual growth factor. So we look at all that traffic that's coming in that uses those regional roads as well as those local roads. When they come in, if they generate more than that, they're going to be put to the test to determine whether or not they're going to have to put in turn lanes or even provide for the widening of the roadway.
How long have we been doing that, David?
We've been doing it as long as I've been here, which has been 15 years. However, in 2008, we increased our requirements and put in those requirements for the turn lanes. So anything that's been submitted since 2008 has been forced to go through that study of whether or not it's going to put in. Now, that doesn't mean that if a project that started before 2008 and continued to build, that we've had the ability to go back and require it, such as the Glenmore when they started sooner and they're continuing to add on to the rear. Those projects that started before, those encroachments exist. The only thing that we can do is try to work with the adjacent properties as they come in to secure enough right-of-way to be able to put those turn lanes in. But since 2008, every new one that has come in has been put through that test of whether or not it needs to install turn lanes.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.